So maybe we can talk about the joy of movement and just what constitutes exercise. Maybe we need to talk a little bit about that definition a little bit more.
Well, I can just give a quick lay of the land definition for the way that we're using the terms in the book and also the way that it's used in research. So movement is the broadest category. It's just a change in shape that your body makes or the change in location that your body creates. That's what movement is. A subcategory of movement is physical activity, and we've certainly heard a lot about physical activity in wellness and health research. We are seeing a decline in physical activity, but physical activity is a much smaller category of movement that's talking about types of movement that usually expend measurable energy. And then exercise is a further subcategory of physical activity. And exercise is the most rigidly defined out of all types of movement. It is, you usually have an intention. I mean, what makes exercise is that you have an intention to do this physical bout of activity to make yourself personally better in some way. You've predetermined a mode. You've predetermined an intensity. You've predetermined a duration. There's, Diana was talking about all the ways our brain likes to count and organize. Exercise is a much more structured version of physical activity, but you could ride your bike to work because that's your mode of transportation. And you could take that identical bike ride for exercise, but on one hand, you got to work, and it has a different intention around it, even though the physical benefits might be the same. So it's the definitions are really have to do with intention, the way they fit into life, how many other things are able to get done. Usually when you're exercising, that's your focus. That's your primary focus. Right. Where if you're walking with your kids, maybe it's like, I want to hang out with my kids and we all need to get to this place. There's other things happening at the same time. And that's how we're using it within the book.
That's great. And how can we get closer to joyful movement? And maybe where did we go wrong? Where did this regimented, maybe narrowly or overly narrowly defined definition of what exercise is? How can we think about infusing our lives with more movement in general that is joyful? Like as I've said this on the show before, the things that in terms of movement that brings me joy is I love pickleball. Like I could make pickleball part of my entire personality. Like I love it so much. But I always, and even when we're playing, I have a perma smile on my face. I cannot stop smiling. I am having the best time. And even though that fits, Katie, into that sort of very defined, it's like exercise, we've rented a court for an hour or, whatever time. But it's something that I look forward to every summer when the pickleball courts open because I love it so much. So how can we help our listeners think about movement as joyful? And there was some prompts in the book that I've just pulled out here, and I give you a few as sort of idea starters, and I'd love for you to expand on them. What are some type of movements that you did that you loved as a kid? What type of movements do you look forward to doing? What movements feel good in your body? Like, how can we think about structuring movement so that it feels good? And Katie, you described like purposeful movement, like as a mode of transportation, for example. But how can we think about them movement as joyful?
Go ahead.
For both of you. Yeah. Diana and then Katie. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to pick up on the pickleball commentary because as you were talking about it, and this is what I'm looking at when I'm looking for when I'm talking to clients, is that you start to pick up the pace and you talk about it and you have a lightness to you, an energy to you in talking about pickleball. And then my questions would be, because I've met a lot of people that love pickleball, but not everyone loves pickleball for the same reason, right?
Yes.
Some people love it because they love the competition. It's super fun to be competitive and fast. And, some people, that's really joyful to them. And they actually value the art of competition. For some people, they value the time that they have with their friends that they meet on the pickleball. Every Monday night at 6 is when I'm there and I know they're going to show up and it's my time. Whereas for some of them, it's the youthfulness of it. It's play. Yeah. They value the play of it, right? So you said the summer. So that would be, I'd having questions like, is there something about being outside in the summer and the light and the actual location of your pickleball court is a fun, yummy place to go to, right? So we start to get more granular about it. What is it that I'm drawn to? And also are not only the pleasure. So when they talk in psychology, when we talk about sort of a well-lived life, we talk about these components of pleasure is one of them. Joy is pleasure. We talk about meaning is another one. So joy is also can have a quality of meaning to it, a purpose. I'm commuting. There's like meaning to using a bike instead of a car because I'm not contributing to all the crap in our air, right? And then there's another component of well-being, and this is from the research of Oishi and Westgate, which is the component of psychological richness. Is there something about this movement and this exercise in which that's psychologically rich for me? It's actually kind of uncomfortable, but I'm growing. I'm developing competence. I'm developing mastery at something. It's making my life richer in some way, psychologically richer. So those components of pleasure and meaning and psychological richness, when you can dig down into them and identify them for yourself, then you have a much bigger motivator to go move than I should exercise.
Right. Or exercise is good for me.
Or exercise is good for me. Or
Yeah.
my doctor said I need to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to gain weight because I'm in menopause, or whatever it is. Like
Mhm.
those are demotivating. When you talked about pickleball, I saw motivation on your face.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can say that it's the community aspect of it. It's meeting my friends, the Monday night at 6 p.m. I spent years of my life just face down in studies and, searching and, accolades and degrees and this and that, and really didn't ever feel like I needed friends. I could just do it myself. It was, inefficient to lean on other people, and like how wrong. It's like I look at that girl and I'm like, oh dear, like I love you so much for all the things that you had to, why you thought that is an entirely different podcast, but coming to this idea of community and belonging and seeing your friends and it's the skill acquisition as well. Like there's nothing better than like the crack. There's a certain crack when the ball meets the paddle at the right angle and you can kind of spin it or backspin it anyway. So those are the things that I really love about it, is the community piece and the skill acquisition as well. That psychological richness that you were referring to.
Yeah. So if you made a sentence of that, it would be, I value my pickleball because I value the community it provides me and the growth edge of it. And if you hold those up real close, and then you have another part of you that's like, I don't want to go. I'm tired. It's 6 o'clock. I had a long day. I don't have enough time. But if you bring those values up closer, then they'll win. They're worth, make it worth it to make the time.
Yeah.